Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some of us. So I hope we all are connecting for second day today, and yesterday was a informative session for all of us. Today we are going to continue on some of the items from yesterday, and we are going to, get started with a bit of Selenium. What is it? How does it works? Along with that, we will be keeping this session a bit short because I got some requests from students that they like it's some weird time for them but at a particular location. So if we're going to keep the session short by having a question and answer session in the end for some random questions. So yeah, let's not just waste our time and start with the session. Before I start, anyone have any questions? Please feel free to ask before we start with the day.
Hello, I just have a question about the Behave BDD. Is this different from JBehave BDD?
Is this different from?
JBehave, JBehave core or web, that it's also BDD.
JBehave is actually a pure Java-based thing, but your BDD is more towards the Ruby side of the code. If I talk in deep level, but they are comparatively different, completely different frameworks. They're not same. I have not worked on JBehave a lot, but as far as I know, they are completely different things. They support different features, and yeah, we need to search more on that.
Okay. Yeah, this Behave looks like it's specific to Python only.
Yeah, actually, I've never used the technology, so not sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Ashish. So Ankit is here.
Mm-hmm.
So we are running two courses parallelly, like Selenium, Python with Playwright and Python with Selenium.
Correct.
So do you cover the basic of Python in both the batches?
That's what yesterday we discussed, that initially for almost 8 to 10 batches, 8 to 10 classes, we will have a combined session for Python basics. We're going to start from scratch and we're going to go till the point where we believe that this is what is needed for automation testing, at least for now. So till that point, we are going to have a combined session for both Playwright with Python and Selenium with Python. Going forward, maybe once we are done with the Python sessions, we will distribute the batches into timings. So whosoever is interested in joining the Playwright batch can come and join the same. Whosoever is interested in joining the Selenium one can come and join this. And if anybody wants to join both of them at the same time, you're most welcome. So this is the structure we are going to follow.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions? Anything from yesterday's lecture you want to continue, you want to ask? How many of us are joining from outside India in this batch right now?
Hi Ashish, I'm Varun here.
Yeah, hi Varun.
So
Hi Ashish, Shilpa.
hello.
Shilpa.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So we'll go one by one. So Varun, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So we have covered the mobile automation testing in the Python.
See, mobile automation testing is a complete different course with APM Python. So in this specific series, we will only have maybe a single session, I'll say, on like a basic of how do we do that. But to understand it in detail, we do have a separate session for APM and Python. But it is not related to this course. In this course, we will be majorly focusing on the web UI side. We will do have a mobile automation session, but it will not be more than a single session, I believe.
So only for we'll cover the only just introductions and all that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of you can say. That at least we should know that how do we
And
trigger
another,
something on.
yeah, and another thing is actually I was attend the previous session. I mean, previous Python lectures, right? But there are many gaps over there. So is it possible in this session continuity?
Sorry, I didn't got your question.
So previously a session it was attend the Python lectures, right?
Mhm.
So there are many gaps from your side, right?
For
So
example,
there are many leaves from your end, right? So is there any possibilities in this session? Because actually
see,
we have,
if you're
yeah,
talking about the previous batch, so previous batch I was not available because of a personal loss in my family.
yeah,
So I
okay,
was on a long break. So I
okay,
was not available. My maternal
mm,
grandmother was no more. So I was on a long break at that point of time. But as far as I know, the previous, the all the other batches, it
yeah.
would not be more than couple of days. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happened is because actually what I say because and they actually we have already two in a week two sessions, right? So actually there are too many gaps in the lectures. So that's why I am.
See, it's like more I take it as it's not like it's something which is in my control, right? So
Yeah,
circumstances,
yeah,
something comes and
that's fine.
becomes,
No,
yeah.
not worry. So yeah, sure. Thank you.
So see, for these
Yeah.
things that will be predefined, like whenever so for example, if I have some commitments already made, so I would
Mhm.
be making sure that I am already updating the session,
Mhm.
students on it.
So actually, Ashish, another thing is I have 5 years experience in the QA menu, right? And I don't have any coding level experience and in the automation. So is it possible to cover from my so
So you are asking that you don't have experience in automation,
yeah,
or you don't have experience in coding at all.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So see, unless or until you are following what is being taught, things will help you. I'll not say it will help you 100% because
mhm,
that is more on the practice side of the things which we make, which we do, which we learn. Because Python is so detailed course that it is not possible to cover it up, in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months.
mhm,
It needs a lot of time, patience, and practice.
mhm,
So whatever is needed for respective to automation testing, we will be covering in this batch.
mhm,
But the only ask is that if something is being taught, come back with questions as many as possible.
mhm.
Because if you are not coming back with questions, it means you are not practicing it. If you're coming back with questions, it means you at least opened your laptop and executed a single program.
So are you giving any exercise in every sessions or
No,
what?
not in every session, Varun. So suppose if you cover, so we have different milestones. If
Mm,
we cover M1, if I say milestone 1, do we have something which we have taught, we deliver the assignments, then for M2 and then for M3 like that. So not if you say today we had a session, Ashish, the assignments are there. No, almost 3-4 lectures down the line, there yes. Then after that, again 3-4 lectures down the line, again you get an assignment like that.
okay.
Because
And
if I
suppose
come and say you, hey, go and write a program on
mm,
this and that, but I know that I have not taught the technology yet,
mm.
and like it is not possible for us to write it. You will just go online, copy it from somewhere and do it, but that will not help you. Yeah.
Okay. Suppose I want to practice, right? So what will the help actually in the online actually?
Sorry, I didn't got it.
Suppose suppose I want to practice in the Python, right?
Hmm.
So how to practice in the online level?
So there are multiple websites for them. So for
Mm,
example, you take Geek for Geeks, you take
mm,
this what do we call it? Tutorials.com, something like that. There is a
mm,
website.
mm,
So if you go online and search for a topic, suppose if you
mm,
learned list, you learned dictionary, just go online and search for that topic, and it will be literally there. You'll find a lot of questions around it. So yeah, you can practice it that way.
And we are using the PyCharm, right?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll just have some water.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So I'm talking about the we are using the PyCharm, right?
Yeah, correct.
We are using PyCharm, right?
Correct.
Okay. And another tool is available for the coding
Sorry,
level. And second, what software we are using?
I didn't got it. Repeat it, please.
Hello.
Yeah, can you repeat your question one more time, Varun?
So I have typed
Um, I'm not able to hear you. Anybody else can hear Varun?
No.
Just in addition to whatever Varun was asking, I have a question related to the Playwright and Selenium. Uh, so I just wanted to understand, being a QA manual side, if someone wants to shift to automation side, so which tool would be the right one? Is it Playwright with Python or Selenium with Python? Which
That
adds
is
more
a
value and which will be useful, which will be easy?
See, it is more kind of a personal choice, I say. When you talk about the market industry, as a beginner, if you are shifting from manual side to the automation side, what is the first thing that you need when when you get stuck at a point of time? You try, okay, before you get stuck, what is the very first initial thing you need to start with the technology? You need something to read on it, correct?
Yeah.
You need some data, you need some documentation, you need some tutorials. So when you compare the very first thing between Selenium and Playwright, you will definitely find that Selenium with Python has way much more tutorials available as compared with Playwright. Second thing, community support. When you say community support, you stuck at a point of time, you got some error, you went online, you search it on Google, you get plenty of Stack Overflow question and answers, right? But at the same time, when you do the same for Playwright, at a point of time you feel that you are not yet satisfied with your question, with the answer that these guys are providing. But I'm not promoting that we should not go ahead with Playwright. Playwright is a very, very, very interesting and a good tool, but that is something which comes once you have a base settled, is my personal opinion. If you understand what is actually happening behind the scenes, Playwright helps you enhance the features which Selenium cannot. You can do all the things which Selenium, using Playwright, all the things which Selenium does, but Playwright is just more efficient and more fast as compared to Selenium. So if you're comfortable with Selenium first, definitely go ahead with Playwright and give a shot at it. But if you're shifting newly, so I'll suggest start with both. Starting with both means go ahead and divide your time like 80% in Selenium, 20% in Playwright. Understand Selenium, understand what is wrong in Selenium, which was made better in Playwright. Compare it at lifetime, you will understand the difference. I hope I answered your question over there.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Okay.
Ashish, is it possible to use Playwright with Java?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Playwright with Java has more detailed things available outside in the market as compared with Python or TypeScript or other whatever the language is suppose.
Okay.
So right now these guys, initially it was created for Java only to support it with Java because it's a JavaScript based tool. So it was made sure that Java is the very first thing it supports. Python came later in the picture. So Java has definitely more community support as compared with Python. But Python support is also growing slowly and gradually with time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, guys? So I was asking how many of us are outside India. So I got 3. Okay, I got 2 of the answers. Farouk and Raghavendra are joining from outside India, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Ashish is training. Yeah,
Me,
I'm from
me,
US.
me to Ashish.
Okay.
Samraj.
So my thing is regarding the timings. So we have a timing agenda set up. So I was just thinking that, okay, maybe we can take this question in the end, that what timings does everybody is comfortable in for the initial Python sessions, and then we can again decide later that how to divide, with Playwright and Python, with Playwright, Python and Selenium Python. So the timings which have been proposed, you can vote accordingly. I'll write down the timings. The first option 1. Oh, let me just share out my screen. Give me a minute. Sorry.
For the timing, you're just asking what time will be the best for everyone, right? Okay.
Correct.
So one start from 6 o'clock, another start from the 8 o'clock, right? So it's like in India time, right?
Let's discuss on it. So the first timing that option 1 we have proposed is for the Python batches only we are talking about here. For Python sessions, let's say. So option number 1 that we are looking towards is the morning time, morning IST, which is 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Option 2, which we are proposing, is again a morning time, which could be from 9:30 a.m. to 11. So what timings does everybody supports for option 1 and option 2? Please post your comments in the chat bot.
Is it AM or PMs, like in IST times, like?
AM, I mentioned it now, right? AM.
So right now, there is a evening, night, right? It's 8 o'clock.
This is the demo sessions, which we normally keep in the evening, but the regular sessions we keep it morning.
So Ashish, this is on Saturday, Sunday, or?
Yeah, only Saturdays and Sundays.
Ashish, hi, it's Shilpa. So 8:30 a.m. in a few days, it will be daylight saving, so it will be 2.5 hours, right? I'm in US, so it won't really work for me. 8:30 means it will be 11 in the night. And then by the time it goes on, it will be like 12 or 1 in the night.
Yeah, can it be a little earlier, instead of 8:30
Yeah,
a.m.?
6:30 would be good.
Joining from New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, right now 8:30 is fine, but later, yeah, as the some daylight change, then we can have a.
So you guys are suggesting earlier time, which is maybe if we talk about
7:30? Yeah.
7:30 a.m. to 9.
7 would be good actually. 7 time.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, fine. I think until 7:30 is fine. Or
7:30 is
yeah.
also okay, but 7 would be best.
Yeah, 7
better.
would
Yeah.
be.
Sorry, 7. So you
Yeah.
have now option 4. So you should also think about me, right?
No, we are okay with the 7:30 to 9, but 7 is better.
7:30 is also okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Because-
7:30 is fine. Yeah.
Yeah, 7:30 is fine. Let's not make a.
Yeah. It should be feasible for you too, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
You know,
Of course.
or it's a Friday night, you are
can't
sleeping.
be, yeah,
India
Just
time,
can't
right?
be too selfish, right?
Just imagine,
Exactly.
it's a Friday evening and you never know who is in what mood, and in the morning you have to take a session. So you may get some days of me. You are in a Python
I
batch,
mean-
I'm teaching Java, so don't think on a
Ashish,
different. Yeah.
No. we
Yeah,
understand.
that's why earlier
Ashish,
Python batch I
hello.
missed a lot, so I couldn't continue it because of the timing issue. So if it's
Correct,
7:30, would be great.
Yeah, so it's okay. I can
Uh,
manage at least this one. So if all are okay with option 3, we can find it for at least for the Python sessions for the next first 10
Hi,
sessions.
Ashish, this is the India time, right?
India time, correct.
Yeah, sure. So is it possible to 8:30 to 10 a.m.? So is it possible?
See, it could be possible, but since we have students joining overseas, and there would be daylight savings in a couple of months down the line. So, not months, maybe a couple of days only now. So I believe option 3 would be best for all of them. So we should think all for all. Yeah.
Options 3 is, I think,
uh,
best for North America side from it.
Yeah, I agree.
But artists
So, go ahead.
for India, it
Ashish,
too early.
hello, Ashish.
Yeah.
Is it possible to 2 sessions? So is it possible 2 batches in a one day?
No, Varun. So initially we're gonna have only one session, and post that, once we are done with the Python thing, we will again divide it separately.
Yep.
But for
Okay.
initial sessions, it is the same. I understand the pain for the India students that it's too early. It's 7:30.
that's
Who
why
wakes up at 7:30? And I am,
actually it's weekend, right?
but being an educational forum, we have to think about all these
Yeah.
students available here, so that it's not too early for us. That's why I have not made it 7.
Yeah, sure.
So 7:30 should be good. So I
Ashish,
believe.
I was attending DevOps from 7:30 from here. So,
No,
so
that is your
today-
personal choice, right? Whichever session you want to attend.
yeah, that's finished. Like today was
Okay.
the last session. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay,
Got
and
it.
when will we divide the batches, because this is as of for Python level. So
Yeah, this
after,
is only for
when will
Python,
we-
so we'll divide it later.
Okay, Playwright and the BDD, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Basically, this one will be the Python basic, right? For
Yeah.
8 weeks or something you said. Then
Correct,
after
correct.
you will decide, you will
Correct,
say, okay,
correct,
which
correct.
batch is which. Okay.
Exactly.
That's-
So finalized, we're going to go ahead with option number 3, which is 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. IST. Chalo.
So
The
we will
timing.
From the next.
Your voice is breaking a lot, Varun. I'm not able to hear you. Can you repeat?
Yes.
Still, it's breaking, Varun. Can you write it? Just write it in the chat bot. Maybe that will help.
Since we don't have any time or any option for evening time.
Initially, see, evening time is hard for me. And, we again get some plans as weekends. So you never know, right? So I personally prefer no for evenings. And yeah. And even I believe if we go for evening session, then it will be very late for overseas. So yeah.
Okay, understood.
And mornings are with energy, guys. You have your breakfast, come to session, learn something. It's pre-workout.
Ashish,
Well,
I already checked what I said.
yeah,
So
yeah.
can you
When we'll
please
start
read
the
to me?
actual session, we'll start the actual session. And you're talking about the demo, or you're talking about the actual session. So we are going to kickstart from 24th itself. 24, 25, sorry, 25th and 26th of February. We're going to start it. Yeah.
Okay, so
You're not audible, Varun. I'm so sorry. Can you please?
hello. So,
Yeah.
so we will start the next weekend, right?
Yeah, we'll start with the next weekend.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. Chalo, let's continue with the session. Before, like, any questions left unanswered, anybody? No? I'm sorry, AJ, if you're speaking something, you're not audible.
No questions, Ashish, from me.
Yeah,
Hello, Ashisha, I am Om Prakash. I have a one question. Maybe it is how much comfortable with Python. So, is it we can automate the captcha in Python?
There are right now, see, Selenium has its own limitations. You cannot automate OTPs. You cannot automate captchas as well.
Fine, because at OTP we are getting on some another device, but can be automate with the captcha?
No, you cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about what frameworks are we going to cover. Nice question. So we are going to start with POM, which is page object model. Then going ahead, we will be starting with data driven framework, where we will be using the Excel sheets and the CSV sheets to read the data, to read and write, you say. Going more forward, we will be going for BDD, behavior driven development. Here we will be covering the Gherkin language. Going more ahead, we will be looking towards, this is I'm talking about, okay, let's talk about both. We're talking about both Selenium as well as Playwright. So I'll write Playwright and Selenium. Going ahead, we will be covering robot framework. Robot framework, how it works, what is keyword driven framework. Once we are done with robot framework, yeah, I believe at a point of time, at a high level, we are going to cover these 4 different types of frameworks. Now, if we talk about reporting, we will be covering Allure reporting, HTML reporting. If you talk about specifically to Playwright, we will be covering Trace Viewer. Yeah. Yeah. So at a high level, these are the different types of frameworks which we will be covering with Playwright and this. Both of them will be having in common is PyTest, because we are going to use PyTest for as a testing framework, for both Playwright as well as Selenium. Once we are done with it, we will be, if we talk about specifically to Playwright, we will be working on, or both itself, Playwright as well as Selenium, how do we work on cross-browser testing when you want to execute the same test case on Chromium. Firefox, WebKit. WebKit is nothing but Safari. You want to run it on an Android thing, and so on. Then along with it, we will be also looking for parallel testing. How is it supported? Then Selenium has something called, Selenium Hub. So we will be looking towards that. No, extent reports are not directly supported with Python. So we will not be covering extent report. On top of it, we will be covering Allure reports. Okay. Along with it, once we understand all these things, we will be integrating our test cases with a Jenkins job. That is the last thing that we are hoping. Once all of this is done, we will have a hands-on on mobile automation.
Ashish, I am not able to hear your screen.
Sorry?
Hello? See your screen.
Am I audible to all of you guys?
Yes, Ashish, you are clear.
Yes, Ashish.
Also, the screen is visible clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Samir, can you check your internet connection one time and reconnect? Maybe that helps you. Okay, going ahead, we will be looking towards mobile automation. Here, when I talk about mobile automation, I mean basic automation strategy. We will have a look on. Yeah, these are some high-level items which, when we talk about Playwright and Selenium, we will be covering. When you talk about web elements, we will be covering almost all the web elements of way2 automation. So if you go to the website, we will be covering drag, drop, resize, select, sort, date picker, tooltip, frames, window handling, drop down handling, registration page, alerts. So all of these items will be automated. Yeah. Any questions on the agenda of what all will be covered and what all not? That I'll be covering as the part of Selenium Hub only, Pranit, version control. Yeah, a very important thing. All the code will be.
We are using the Git tool. We are using the Git tool.
Yeah, let me please complete. All the code will be always given on Git. So a Git repository will be shared with the students with steps how do we clone it. I will also take a session, 1-day session on Git itself. What is Git status, how to set all this, how to commit, how to do things. Yeah. So these are some overall things, high level things which we have planned for the journey. Any questions in the agenda, anybody?
Actually, we will use the Git tool.
Warren, you're not audible clearly, dear. Can you please write your query?
Okay, so I'm asking, see, we are using the Git Git.
Can anybody else hear Varun clearly?
Arvind is asking you, asks that, are you going to use a gate? Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned it, right? We are going to
Yeah.
use it. Okay, cool. This is a overall thing which we have as an agenda. There is some, when you talk about Playwright specifically, we will be working on Playwright strengths. whatever the strengths Playwright offers to us, we will be testing it. One is authentication mechanism. Guys, can you please stop annotating on the screen? That is not good. Cool, leave it. Okay, when you talk about strengths, we will be learning about authentication mechanism here. Authentication mechanism is a very good strength of Playwright specifically, which allows the user for multiple browser sessions at a point of time. So if I say it like that, in Selenium, if you want to simulate a behavior where 1000 users are hitting your browser at the same time, hitting your website at the same time and performing some operation, Selenium does it, either it is possible with parallel testing, but you want to check on different browsers hitting at the same time, same test case by thousands of users. What is the response? That is not possible with Selenium because it supports only one browser session at a time. It will take a lot of time for you, but Playwright supports authentication mechanism and other things to support multi-browser sessions. So we will be testing, I'll write it, multi-browser sessions. We will be covering up async testing. I remember your question, Sarup, from yesterday for sync and async. We'll discuss on it after this. Async testing means faster execution. How is it possible? Yeah, so we will be learning more in Playwright. Is it clear to everybody? Yes, no, maybe. Till here. Clear to all? Any questions? Okay, great. So let's move back. Yesterday, as far as I remember, we executed this specific test case, right? We executed it using what? Using CodeGen, right? If you guys remember, we used CodeGen. Do you cover TestNG? I'm so sorry, dear. TestNG is not supported for Python. We do support Playwright. Okay. Okay. Let me come back. So yesterday we used something called CodeGen. Let me remove this. Write it some different color. Playwright CodeGen, this was the command. And just give me a second, guys. Yeah, and the website name, right? This command helped us to get this specific lines of code which we have here. How? By just recording it. We have not written even a single line here. We just recorded it. Let's try and understand each and every line of the Playwright code here. What is it? How is it? The first line. The first line says from Playwright sync APIs. This Playwright.sync API which we have here is nothing but it is just a package for Playwright. It is just a package for Playwright. When we say, Ashish, this Playwright.sync API is, further divided with .sync API. What is it? Like, what does that means? So it simply means that sync sync API means using the synchronous mode. Yesterday, we understood what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous way of doing a thing. When we talk about synchronous way, when we talk about the synchronous way, synchronous simply means, okay, let's take this example. Just give me a second. Guys, can you all mute yourself? Okay, let's take this example now. You have two devices with you. This is device 1 and this is device 2. Correct? Now what happens on this device 1? You have a function. You actually have a button here. When the user clicks on this button, or you say you send the name of the student here. I'll say the name is Ashish. Let me remove and write again. The name is Ashish. When you send this information in this text box, let's say, and once the user adds this in the text box, there is a small button down which the user can click. Now, once the user enters the text and clicks on the button, user gets a result. User gets, a result which gives you all the information about this user. Take it as an example of the admission book in a school. I want to know that if I enter the admission number of a student, I want all the details retrieved from it. The same thing is happening. I click on it, I get the information, that's it. So if you understand it more technically, this is nothing, but can we say it is a very common known scenario, which we call, what do we call this type of scenario? Client and tell me guys. We call it as client server model. Do we call it or not?
Yes, Ashish.
Yeah, server, yeah.
We call it as a client server model where the user is, requesting for information. In the response, the server responds, and once the client gets that information, that same information is then displayed here. Correct? This is how a thing works. All of us will agree on it.
Yeah.
Let's take an example for real-time applications such as Gmail. You enter your email, you enter your password, you send a request on the server responds you with all your emails and activities, correct? This is happening one item at a point of time. This is happening one thing at a point of time. The ask of the client, try to understand it very carefully. The ask of the client here was that, hey, when you are getting the information of the students, also tell me how many students failed in class 10th. So the the problem statement is get all the students of class 10th. On top of it, tell me how many students failed in class 10th. There are two things, right? According to the current model which we have created here, what will be the first operation? The first operation will be get all the data from DB for class 10th, correct? Guys, please be interactive. If it is not clear, raise it. The first item will be to get all the data from the database for class 10 students. Correct. Now, just imagine in India, there are these many class 10 students. Got it? In India, there are 10 or you say 100 crore. I'm just taking an example. You have a 10 crore data where there are 10 crore students who are studying in class 10th. You executed the query. How much time do you think will it take to execute it? Just a random guess. According to you. How much time do you think it will take time to generate the output? Any random guess, guys? We can say
4 to 5 milliseconds.
Oh, are you sure? For almost 10 crores of students data to return, you're saying milliseconds. Impossible, guys.
5 to 10 minutes.
It will approximately take 10 minutes. Chalo, let's make it a best case scenario, 10 minutes. Cool. Now, what was the next task? Once you get this data, the next ask was get all failed students. Correct? Once we get this data of, after 10 minutes, we go ahead and, get all the failed students. We execute a query on, again, these 10,000 students. And we say it will again take 10 minutes to complete the task. So in a nutshell, I can say to complete the client's request, it will take almost 20 minutes to reflect the data on the UI. Correct me if I am wrong.
Yes, Ashish.
All of us, are we all agreeing on this point?
Yeah.
It will take almost 20 minutes to reflect the data on the UI. As a developer or as a product manager, what will be your concern here? So until you have clicked on this button and you receive the data, your UI will be what? Your UI will be completely blocked to use, correct? When I say blocked to use, it means the user cannot perform any other clickable action on the screen because the query is already executing. You have not received a response for one request yet, correct? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Now, with this behavior, we are saying that we are stopping the user for 20 minutes. We are blocking him. This behavior is called sync API. Sync API means one request, one response, then move to the next one. It gets the response for the first one. It executes it. It gets a response. It executes the next. It gets a response. Once it gets the response, it goes back. It displays it to the UI. The UI is now unblocked. This is how the sync API works. But when we talk about async APIs, what difference could have async APIs made here? In case of asynchronous behavior, the user still have the same button. I'll draw that button. The user still enters the request. I'll say class 10. User again, clicks on a button. This is the button. Once the user clicks on the button, now what action is happening? Now what happens when you are getting this data? When you are getting this data, which takes 10 minutes of yours, 10 minutes is when you get all the data. But there would be a time, suppose at a point of time, initially it started and it got data for 1 lakh students. In the first millisecond, I'm saying in the first millisecond, it got the data for 10,000 seconds, 10,000 students. What will happen now, using the async APIs, it will pass this 10,000 of students to the next call. It executes this request again for these 10,000 members, 10,000 students. It generates the result within a couple of seconds. It shows it on the UI within a couple of seconds for first 10,000 students. Then it again, this process keeps on continuing unless or until all the, all the request has been completed. So what I mean to trying to explain here is asynchronous API supports multi-threading. This is the concept of multi-threading. At one thread, this query is executing. As soon as the response is coming from this first query, it is an input for another query which is running on another thread. As soon as the response comes from this thread, it transfers it to the main thread, which displays the result on the UI side. And the process continues, and the moment you keep on scrolling, you see a small button. You see a small loading button, which is actually doing nothing but fetching these results for you. This is how asynchronous API works. Now let us take an example of a real world day-to-day life application which we are using. All of us have used this Swiggy application, have we? Swiggy, Zomato. All of us have used it at a point of time in our life, right?
Right, Ashish.
Now you go to this application, you start a chat with the spokesperson. And at the same time you want to order something. What do? You go and you open start a chat. You are performing a chat. You have not received a response. You go back, you do your another task. You come back to the previous task. You got a response. You continue working on that thread. You go back. You continue ordering something on another thread. That is asynchronous API. You are doing multiple tasks at the same time, just to save your time, to save your your energy. Let's talk about synchronous API. Ashish, if asynchronous is so good and we are actually seeing it everywhere, then where is synchronous being used? How many of us are using calculators? Calculators does not require multiprocessing. It is a one-time input, you receive a one-time output. Weather forecast applications, you give them, hey, I want the particular information of the area, the coordinates, the city, the state. It gives you the output, hey, I received this. This is what is shown. These are the applications which support synchronous APIs. Is it clear to everybody what is sync API and what is async API? Yes, no, maybe. I would like to hear from all of you, please. Swaroop, did I answer your question?
Yes, Ashish, I got it.
You got it, right? Anybody else? All of you, please unmute yourself and tell, is it clear to all of you?
Yes, Ashish.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see a multiple yes on the chat side, but I'm just not sure that it is clear to you or is clear overhead.
It's clear.
See, I tried explaining it in an easier way with some diagrams and all. I don't know how much good it was, but I'm bad in drawings, so please do not judge me on that side. Okay, let's move ahead. What is the next thing? The next thing that we have here is just a normal import thing that from this complete package, which has multiple classes in it, I want to import, I want to work on this Playwright is first package class, sync Playwright is the other class. So I can say that man, this thing Playwright and this sync Playwright are both nothing but the classes of the package. Cool. So this explains you the very first statement. Is it clear to all of you the very first statement? What is what? What is not what? Cool.
Ashish, I am having one doubt. So from playwright.sync underscore API you are using. So the sync underscore API is any .py file, or this is just denoting that the API which we are using are the sync APIs.
We'll come to this in detail once we start on it. It's a retail concept, Ankit.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, I'm just taking it a bit light so that everybody understands everything. Chalo, this is about the first thing. Will not. The other one, the other line. Here, this is just a Python function where we are creating a Playwright object. We'll come to it when we will be learning OOPS concepts. So let's not look into that one. Just treat it, it is a normal function. For those who are not able to understand what a function is a collection of multiple statements together to be executed. That's it. Okay. So now here the first statement is browser equals to chromium.launch headless equals to false. So I am clearly stating here that Playwright, again, your package name, Chromium, your class name, this launch is your function name, headless equals to false is your parameter. What I'm trying to explain here is go to this package, go to the Chromium class. In this Chromium class, launch, click on the, execute the launch function, and headless equals to false. What does this means? Anybody here? What does headless equals to false means?
That means like without a browser opening, it's running in the backend.
Headless equals to false, not true. Right?
Yeah.
So what
You
does
don't
that
get a handle of it. There is no handle for it.
Just a second. Sorry?
No handle for it. So headless, operating system doesn't give any handle to that.
Yeah, kind of correct. So we just simply say when headless equals to true, we say that, hey, execute it. I'm talking about headless equals to false right now. Execute it in UI. When headless is equals to true, execute it without UI. Now, Ashish, what is the difference if we execute something with UI and execute something without UI? Isn't it difficult for us to execute something without UI? Like, does it make any difference in the execution? So can anybody answer me this question?
Yeah, so without UI, even if you do any operations on the desktop, so it doesn't interrupt the flow of the automation. So once it is hooked up, so behind the scenes it is running. So without awareness of the user, operating system is going and executing particular automation scripts on that particular whichever the browser it is being open behind the scenes.
Kind of correct. So in very simple language, we can also state here that hey, when the use of headless comes into picture, suppose if you go to a UI, it takes, so right now you talk about Selenium. Selenium waits for the complete page to load before executing an operation. When you talk about it waits for a complete page to load, suppose this is my page. On this specific page, I have one image loaded, big image loaded here, one big image loaded here, another big image is loaded here, and I want to perform the operation only and only in this specific area. But what will Selenium do? It will wait for, suppose this is a 10 MB image. You know, this is a 10 MB image. This is another 5 MB image. This is a video recording, let's say of 20 MB video recording. These are the elements which you have no use in automation at all. You don't care if they are loaded or not. You just want to click on this specific area. You want to work on the specific area. But Selenium will wait for the complete page to load before allowing you to execute the operation. That is where the headless equals to true comes into picture. With that, headless equals to true, it does not loads these elements at all. It only and only loads the element on which you want to work on. So with that, it makes your execution super fast as compared to executing it on the UI. Got it? Yes, no, maybe? Guys, please be interactive. You understood it or not?
Yes, Ashish.
Okay. So this is since we are having a time crunch, so I'll not go ahead in detail out here right away, but this is the way we are going to learn coding with this. This is the Playwright section. When we talk about Selenium, let's create a new file. Let's name it as Selenium demo. When you talk about Selenium, Selenium also offers you a lot of options to automate the items, automate the web browsers, automate different elements. How do we do that in here? To work with Selenium, the very first thing we do is we go to terminal, we write pip install Selenium. It says for me the requirement is already satisfied, so it has already downloaded the latest version of Selenium for me. I'll say from Selenium import WebDriver. When you write this specific line, this is also the same way it was in previous section. From Selenium. Let me change. From Selenium, import WebDriver. What are these items? When you talk about Selenium, this is, let's understand, this is the package name. For those who are not sure what is the package, don't worry, we will understand it. Package is just like a polybag which contains multiple grocery items, and whichever grocery item you want to work on, you know, import it out of the bucket basket and you use it in your kitchen. So we say this is a package, WebDriver is that item, or we say it is the class. So from Selenium, I'm saying that Selenium is a big package. I want to use the WebDriver class API out of it. Cool. Let's move ahead. Once you write it, you say WebDriver dot which browser you want to work on. I want to work on Chrome. Do we need to add anything here, Ashish? No. And yes, both. So I'll just say driver equals to WebDriver.chrome. Now here comes the very first difference between Selenium and Playwright. Right now, if you write, I have created a variable driver. So I say driver dot get. I will give a website URL. Let's say registration page. I'm saying go to this website. Driver dot maximize the window. That's it. If I want to execute it, you know, a simple thing, I run it. Let's see what happens. It opens your Chrome browser, it executes it, and it closes it. For me, it happened without any issues. For you, it will definitely give you an issue saying that, hey, Chrome driver .exe is not available. What does that mean? So to execute anything on the Chrome browser, you need Chrome driver.exe as a separate executable file. Where and how do we download it? You go online, you say download Chrome driver, hit enter, go to the very first website. Depending upon the version of Chrome you are using, you can download it anytime. So if I check about the version, you can check it from the about tab, or let's say from settings. If you see, no, not in the settings section. If you
Yes,
talk about,
yes.
about Google Chrome, let me erase that. This says that I am using the version 109.0. So I'll simply go back where I was. It says if you are using this version, please download the Chrome driver from this website. I hit on this website. Depending upon the system you are using, you can go ahead and download it. Since I'm using a Mac system, I download the Chrome driver for the Mac browser, Mac operating system. Once you download it, once you get it, you simply extract it, open it, you see a Chrome driver file. Copy this file, go back in your VENV folder, you can add it inside the bin directly. You add this Chrome driver that's saying that this is an available API with us, API executable file, and that's it. Once you do that, you are good to execute your code in Selenium. We will be learning such more things in Selenium. If I open any existing project which we did, let me show you guys. This was one project which we executed in one of our session. If you look towards the test case, these many test cases we will be going to cover. in detail, select, sort, and so many items. So right now it is not showing because I don't have the executable file in them. If you open, let me open another one. This is a kind of a robot thing which we did. You know, if you go to test cases, there are multiple test cases. There is a complete framework which we follow, and so on. So that is the same exact way we are going to learn this time also in Selenium, as well as in Playwright. So yeah, I'm not writing the complete registration page. You guys can check my previous demo of Selenium on this one time. There I have explained it in detail. So yeah, any questions to anybody?
So how to install this Selenium
That
API and all that you
I
will be
have
covering?
created.
Oh, okay.
There was I have created a presentation which I'll be starting maybe from very next lecture, which has step-by-step things to install Python, to install a PyCharm. What do we need to do? What we do not need to do, and that will help you guys a lot.
Ashish, is it possible to share this PDF with us so we can follow it?
Yeah, definitely. Once we start with the session, I'll share you all the resources.
Sure, thanks.
Ashish, can we do API testing through Python, or we will
Yes.
cover it in this ongoing session?
No, in this session, we are not going to cover API Python, but definitely API testing is possible with Python. We do have a separate batch for that executing.
Oh,
yeah. Any more questions, guys, related to any other item?
I have one question, Ashish. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Tell me.
Is there a WebDriver manager in this? For example, if
Right now, I don't have in the PyCharm with me, but we do have it.
Okay, but okay, so there is a
Yeah,
option
definitely.
of using WebDriver, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
No need to individually download any exe.
Correct. We do have a WebDriver manager.
Okay, I have one question. Let's say on my PC we have two versions of Chrome, right?
Okay.
I have two versions of Chrome installed on my machine. Right, and I'm using WebDriver Manager. So automatically by default, which it will pick up?
The latest one.
Okay, by default it is always the latest one. Huh?
Correct. Whichever browser of your Chrome browser has the latest version, it will pick that up.
Okay, and let me put it this way. Let's say I have one Chrome browser, which is open source, right? And I have one Chrome which is from Google, which it will pick
Which
up.
is?
I have one Chromium installed, which is open source browser. Right, and I have one Chrome installed, which is from Google.
Yeah, it will take up the Google Chrome.
Okay, and if I remove that Google Chrome, then it will pick up the Chromium.
That we need to check. I'm not sure on that part, but I have simulated this behavior for Chromium and Chrome. So yeah, for that I know, but I've not checked it for when you remove Chrome. Will it take Chromium or will it ask you to install Google Chrome? That I'm not sure on that part.
But what is the need to have
what
you
is the
like
WebKit?
both versions, right? First, the question is like if you are working in a company, what is the need for you to have open source as well as from the Google? Technically, you have to use which is the license and the proper one, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like in an organization viewpoint, you say it's always the licensed versions of the items you
Right.
use.
So there
But,
is no point in going for that kind of stuff, right?
Definitely, but maybe a quick question in somebody's mind, right? It's okay.
Right. No, just I'm trying to that person only, right?
Correct.
Basically, answering that person.
Yeah, go ahead, Swarip. You were saying something else.
And what is the WebKit?
WebKit is Safari user.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
You'll be sharing Python notes as well once we start the session, isn't it? I'm so sorry on it, Pranit, but there are no handmade notes. I'll definitely share you the slides which I'll be taking up. But if you are asking me for some handwritten notes, I am seriously sorry on it. You can definitely go back and check the recordings. They will be available for you 24/7.
Oh, so Ashish, this demo sessions is already uploaded?
I believe you
This one?
can check this with Rahul one time, but for the previous session, it is uploaded.
Okay. I was thinking to Playwright demos. How do
No, CodeGen
I'm
is
trying to,
not
yeah.
similar to
Yeah.
IDE, Ankit. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to install the Playwright. That's why Python the Playwright. That's why.
Cool. So with this, as we said, we will be keeping this session a bit short. I hope it was clear to all of you what is synchronous APIs, asynchronous APIs for Playwright clearly. If not, you guys can go back and check the recording one more time. Also, what we will be covering as a part of it. And if you want to understand more Selenium, you guys can check my previous demos, which will be of free cost available on the same website. It's there which only focuses on Selenium, but this time I tried focusing a bit on the Playwright section, that how are we going to take it up. So yeah, going forward, any questions? Anybody?
One last question. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. No
No,
reason.
Janki, yeah, that's fine. The
It's not
lady
a
start.
corporate, guys, okay? It's okay. It's a
Very good.
day-to-day thing that, okay, please, any one of you, go ahead.
No, you were just saying that you were also taking Selenium classes. I was going through the last batch of a Java code batch, and we are waiting for Selenium. So you have taken Selenium as well?
Yeah, Selenium with Python, Janki, not Java.
Okay. Can we get the recording link so that
I believe you can ask Rahul for it. Rahul would be the
Okay.
best person. Rahul knows where everything is uploaded. I don't handle that stuff.
No worries. So then I will check with Rahul on that, because now for Java and Selenium, he had shared the link. Likewise, if you have taken a Python and Selenium, maybe we can try
Yeah,
to.
there are almost 7-8 batches on Python Selenium. Previously, you can check on all of them if you want to.
And we are not using Spider, right? Like the IDE, what we are using is a
PyCharm.
different one. PyCharm.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. And I have not installed anything, so I can go ahead and then download the PyCharm right now, right? In my
Yeah,
system.
correct. Otherwise, in the next session, we will be starting with these only. If you want, you can we'll be starting with installing and downloading only again
Okay.
from
That will be
scratch.
really helpful. Okay.
Yeah. This
We'll
is
go
just a
through
demo
that.
session, so I'm not went in deep. In next session, I'll give you screenshots for each and every topic, which each and every step we need to follow to reach the target state.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
Sorry, my question was it might be too early to ask now. I think Selenium doesn't support desktop applications, right?
Correct.
But in Flow, if you go in corporates, there are mainframe application, desktop application, and web applications, right? So is there any mechanism or some third-party tools which will enable you to do even the mainframe and the desktop along with this web application?
So we have added it here. If you go in detail, this is something which is very helpful for desktop applications, integrating them with Selenium. Robot framework. So you can use robot framework to work on web apps, mobile apps, desktop apps, all at same point of time.
Oh, okay. That's great. Okay.
Correct. But we will not discuss this in detail in this specific batch. We have a separate robot framework batch where, automating mobile apps, automating web apps, automating APIs, automating desktop apps. We cover it there.
Okay. So, okay, thanks. I think we have recordings for that one, right? So we can refer.
Yeah, definitely you can go ahead and check the recordings.
Okay, thank you, Arshad.
Ashish, my question may be out of the scope, but I am getting in my mind. Like I recently joined a new organization. They have Java, Selenium framework, and I have experience in the Python. Then how we will manage there? I need to write from the scratch, or I can sync anyway.
See, that depends. Is your organization flexible enough to allow you to create a new framework? Question number one. Question number two, that are you confident enough that you will be capturing all the details of the existing frameworks using your skill set without disturbing the existing structure? You will be adding more capabilities using Python, because otherwise there would be no use of touching an existing item if you cannot add more capabilities on top of it. Once you answer these two questions, you can definitely go ahead. If you talk about, hey Ashish, I have like, for the first thing, the answer is I'm not 100% sure if the organization allows on it. For the second question, I'm not confident enough will I'll be able to capture each and everything with more capabilities. Then how should I go ahead with managing myself in the organization? I would definitely say go and start understanding the framework at least using Java, because if that is what they are supporting, they already have their own pros and cons. They already might have done a research on different types of languages they want to support, and they have selected this. So you might need to continue using that only. So if the answer for the first two options are different for you, then the scenario for third can also be different for you.
Right, Ashish. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? See, for me, I love to answer questions and I love to take questions, even if it is a silly question or if it is a more technical question. That is great to hear. And I am a person who learns with you. I'm not somebody who will be stubborn enough saying, no, what I am saying is only correct. If you have some more better experience in a technology, please share it, and I would be literally happy to understand and learn it.
Thank you so much for saying this. It's a nice way of interacting and then getting the information. And also we are also happy to be very comfortable in asking questions and then getting the knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. See, Janki, it is something to and fro. It is something give and take. Knowledge is a sea, right? It's Arabian Sea. It is endless. I am not sure. I cannot say that I am 100% sure about the things I am teaching here. You have more experience at a point of time. You share your experience. I'll be accepting it. I'll be learning from it. Everybody here will be learning from it. I'll be sharing something, you guys will be learning from it. So this is how we should take it, instead of just being stubborn on what is being taught.
Okay, thank you for saying that. One, I have a small clarification I would like to know. Like whenever we are taking, your syllabus will be shared upfront, and then we will go by the syllabus. Okay.
Correct. Syllabus is there. I have shared it with Rahul already. So Rahul will share with you guys maybe after today's session once it is done.
So this is just me. I'm thinking if we can say that when we are starting the session, today's session, what we are going to cover, and the upcoming session, what we will be covering, at least at the end of the session, we can say we will get ready, because it's a 5-day gap. We can utilize them to learn.
We'll definitely follow this approach.
We can have little bit of brush up of, at least we don't come blank slate. We can just know, okay, I'm going to get some new topics covered. Maybe I need to take a look at it beforehand.
Sure,
if people are of that kind of homework doing person, that will help. I would like to be of that kind of a category. I come from old school pattern.
No issues in this. This is a great approach of thinking and doing things. So yeah, definitely we will be following this approach. Like we'll starting with the agenda, we'll be closing with the upcoming agenda.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
And was there like an introduction session for, like, I know people will come in
the next session, Janki. Once we are finalized with the students who are joining, then I take the first lecture as the introduction lecture.
Okay. Because maybe like if people are already having a lot of experience in automation, and then for them the level of our topics or the way it will be taught will be different than people like me who are very new to the automation journey.
Correct. It's okay. So once we start the batch, we will be having an introduction on that.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
And Ashish, one quick question regarding that headless. So when you open in the browser, we are saying the browser would be headless. The question is like under that we have multiple statements. So click on this particular button or select from the drop down. Only
only
those
interactable elements will be loaded.
Loaded, right? Okay.
Correct.
So the elements that we are of our interest that is being mentioned in the code would be we would be waiting for, or any other elements also we might.
So right now, if you talk about Selenium in the current state, it waits for all the complete page to load, and then it clicks and executes. But if you talk about headless mode, it only and only focuses. It actually directly removes images, videos. You say you do not interact with them directly. You always have a flow. You have a text box. You enter, you click, you get something, you assert it, you close it. This is how we verify something. So that is what headless equals to true does. It loads the required elements. It does not loads the unnecessary items, ads, and everything.
So when we say like it loads only the required images, sometimes I might need to click on that image itself. So in
that case,
what
then headless is equals to true is not preferred.
So it should be better headless equal to true than wait for everything and then perform. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
If you're dealing with images and something, then turn off headless and go with the regular flow. But if you're dealing only with the other interactable elements, then that is preferred for a more speed execution.
Okay, but it is not the other way. Like you have 4 statements in the code where it is waiting for one image and another one is waiting for the button and another one for the drop down. So our automation will be waiting only for these 3 elements that you mentioned in the code.
Correct.
And rest it would ignore.
That happens with Playwright.
Okay.
That is what these guys have, they introduce something called auto page wait. So it waits only unless the required elements are loaded. Once they are loaded, it starts the execution immediately.
So basically it is implicit load. It doesn't require to use any sync property or anything. So automatically it will
Kind of,
take
yes.
care of it. Okay. Thanks.
Welcome.
Ashish, I have one question. Since I'm from the Java background and I had a good experience on the Java, so how difficult or how easy it will be for me to learn Python and then working on Python? Because I have already worked for Java, Selenium, so I just wanted to know how.
Babita, were you there in yesterday's demo session?
Actually, I just recently joined. I had some work.
So I would definitely prefer you to go ahead and the recording for the day 1 demo session. We covered this question as the first topic.
Okay, fine. So I should go with for the Playwright and then this recording session, right? Both.
You can go ahead for demo 1. You will get your answer there for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, guys, then if we have no more questions, I would be saying it's a wrap up. So how was the session? Was it informative? Any feedbacks?
Yeah, I think it was good.
Okay. Yeah, it
I
was
think
great.
that it is, it's good actually, and we are looking forward to for a great learning.
So I'm just going to the next question here is, how many of you am I going to see in the next session?
I'll be joining. The only thing is I wanted to go for the Selenium because I just finished the Java code. I wanted to go with the Selenium batch as well as this one, the upcoming batches for Python.
Cool. Chalo, I hope it was a nice informative session for all of us.
Yeah, Ashish. Hello. Hi,
Yeah.
Ashish. Yeah, Ashish, actually first you install the Chrome driver, right? in download options, Chrome driver file. Then you fetch the details Chrome driver files in SRC folder, right? So after that, I can delete the that Chrome driver file in download folder.
Correct.
It
Yes,
will
you
be
can.
not impact.
Yeah,
You
it does
can.
not give any impact because you're already having a saved copy inside the SRC folder. So even if you delete it from your download section, it does not make any impact.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
And Ashish, one more questions. Actually, like a Python is an interpreter, right? So if we found any issue while executing the program in Python, and we found let's suppose give one error in our code, right? And we found multiple error in a same time in Java. So in if I'm talk about the live project, then it will be time consuming na, because we are getting multiple error in Java and we are finding only one error in one single time. Then after we will execute and then after we will reach out to the next error. Then after we will fix. So I think Python it will be time consuming.
See, that is again depending upon. I say that depends completely on the type of work you are doing here, Shubham. When I say the type of work we are doing here, you can take it in the other way around. You know, at least in Python, you have completed out of 100 lines, 80 are executing fine. You are need to, you are still need to, look in the next remaining 20. And for when you compare it with Java, you know that which line you want to work on, you fix it, you get another issue maybe at some other area. So see, I'm not saying it's not good or it's bad. It depends upon person to person, the way they prefer.
Okay.
It's a straightforward answer. It depends head to head. Okay, yeah. So in case if you guys want to contact me, I'll share my email ID on the group. Let me write it in the chat side. As well as I'll share my contact number. You guys can feel free to drop me a WhatsApp message. And yeah. Okay, then guys, if we have no more questions left, we can end the session for the day and let's connect back in the next session. Just a reminder, the timings that we have decided is from 7:30 to 9 a.m. IST for at least the Python batches. Then we will again decide for Playwright and Selenium differently. So in case if there are changes in the timing, you guys will be notified by Rahul. However, it is not, but in case if it is, you guys will be notified. Okay. Okay, guys, then stay safe.
One last question. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I do not have any connection with Rahul. I do not have his number or WhatsApp group in my mobile. So if
You can go to Way to Automation website. Over there, you can find his number.
Okay, WhatsApp number is there.
Yeah, his contact numbers and all details are available there.
Yeah, I have the email, but not the contact number.
The contact number is also available at the website, Swaroop.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
Okay, then, guys.
Yeah,
stay safe. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a lovely audience. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.